Good morning, everyone. Welcome. I'm maybe giving a few seconds for the last participants to join, but welcome to our third webinar for the Call for Transfer Networks. I'm Mariela Ramitra. I'm a project officer here at the URBAC Secretariat, and today I will guide you through some of the, let's say, more technical aspects of submitting your transfer network application. So I hope that I have the lead partners here in the room. Just as a reminder, I think that this webinar is more useful for the lead partners since we're going through some of the technical aspects of the application. But in any case, as you can see, the webinar is being recorded, and then we will also share it, both the slides and the recording of the webinar in our website. As usual, we ask you to interact with us through the chat. So if you have any questions during this webinar, please feel free to use the Q&A option to ask them, and we will make sure to answer them both via chat, and then also if there is anything pending, I will stop at certain moments during the webinar to cover the unanswered questions. I have today here with me my colleagues Evgenia Strati and Irina Rotaru, so you will see them answering you through the chat. All right, so I would say let's start. Just as maybe as a reminder, that this is not, as I said, is not the first webinar that we have together, but we have already gone through the presentation of the call, how to build a strong partnership, and then a more detail on the exchange and learning process during your network journey. So what we're going to do today is focus really on the application itself, and I'm not going to go back to cover some, let's say, more of the thematical content that we have already covered in the previous webinars regarding the Call for Transfer Network. So in case you have more doubts related to maybe the network journey or more the methodological aspects, I really invite you to go back to the previous webinars that we have held. What we will cover today, indeed, is more a reminder of what are the resources and the guidance available for you to fill out your application. Another reminder of the eligibility criteria that I hope that you know by heart by now. And then we will go through the main chapter of the application form, some tips regarding the budget, and we will also have a quick look on Synergy as a platform, and I hope that by then you will have all of your answers, all of your questions answered. All right, so first of all, where to start with the application? You have to go on the URBAC website in the Get Involved page, and there you have all the resources. The very important documents for you are the terms of reference for the call, the guide for applicants. So these are the two main documents that explain the process of the application and then also the content. Then the program manual is your reference point for the more management aspects of the call, and you will find the references in the terms of reference and in the guide for applicants on which parts of the program manual are relevant for you. And then don't forget that we also had written down a practical guide to Synergy, so really a step-by-step guide, also with screenshots, to really support you in building up the application. If you have any questions at any point, you know that you can contact us at tn@urbac.eu. And it's really important that if you contact us, even if you've been in contact with one member of the Secretariat specifically, but it's always important that you put the general email in copy so that we can all answer your questions when you have them. All right, so having again a quick look at the eligibility criteria for this call to make sure that you're not missing out any important piece of information. So first of all, the lead partner, the candidate lead partner, has to be an awarded URBAC Good Practice in 2024. The lead partner can be a candidate lead partner in only one proposal under this call. This means that it's okay if you are already a lead partner in a current action planning network or innovation transfer network, but for the transfer network, you can only lead one proposal. The application package should be submitted in English, respecting the procedure outlined and within the deadline, and I will come back to it at the end of this presentation to give you reminders of what we need. And the application package, of course, is complete with all the required documents. The proposal, so what you write in the application form also is complete in terms of information and data required. So there's no, let's say, empty box, and we will go also on Synergy to see what that means. And you have collected all the letters of commitment from the partners that have been properly filled in and signed. And also remember that you have to respect the maximum budget for the transfer network, that in this case is 750,000 euros total eligible budget. And then I will go more into the detail of the budget later on. Then a reminder more on the partnership side, because I think that on this there might still be some questions. So remember that the proposal has to bring between 6 and 8 partners in total, including the lead partner. The proposed partnership cannot include more than one non-city partner, and I'll come back to this in a second. The proposed partnership has to respect the minimum of partners from transition and less developed regions, so at least 2 from the EU member states. And the partnership all the partners in the partnership have to be from different countries. And of course, all the candidate partners have to be eligible according to the URBAC program rules. So when it comes maybe more to the geographical balance of the partnership, so as I said, the partnership has to be 6 to 8 partners, lead partner included. Lead partner can only be cities that have received an URBAC good practice label in 2024. And a beneficiary can be a partner in maximum 2 approved networks. And then reminder that you can only have 1 non-city partner per network. When it comes to the geographical distribution, again, each partner has to be from a different country. And as eligible partners, they can be located either in the EU member states, so they would be covered by the ERDF funding, or they can be located in IPA countries, so Albania, Bosnia and Herzegovina, North Macedonia, Serbia, and I'm blanking out on the 5th one, I'm so sorry, and Montenegro, I'm sorry. We have then as eligible partners NDCI countries, so Ukraine and Moldova, and then possibly also partner states such as Switzerland and Norway. I think it's important that you keep in mind this division, let's say, of zones of where the partners could come from, because this is going to also clarify then the rules regarding the geographical balance. So indeed, every partner has to come from a different country, and you have to have at least 2 partners from EU member states. So those covered by the ERDF funding. From these EU partners, at least half should be located in the less developed and or transition EU regions. So this division of less developed, in transition, or more developed, it's only related to the EU regions, to the EU member states. And you have to make sure that you respect also this geographical balance within the EU member states. If you don't know where your partner or where you as a partner are located in terms of EU regions, there is a map. So you see it here on the screen, but also we have provided you with the link both in the slides, but also in the terms of reference to check where your city, in which EU region your city is counted in. But once again, in case you have doubts regarding the eligibility, the status, let's say, of a partner, or how to consider them in terms of EU region, you can reach out to us, always tn@urbac.eu. This again is a reminder of what you already know, so that the main beneficiaries of the URBAC program is what we call cities, and by cities we mean several categories. So it's cities, municipalities, and towns, but then it's also local agencies that are either public or semi-public organizations set up by a city. They can be infra-municipal tiers of government, or they can be metropolitan authorities and organized agglomeration. In this call and in URBAC in general, there's no limitation when it comes to the size and population of the city. So they can be, again, metropolitan areas or very small cities. And as non-cities, we still consider public entities such as universities, research centers, provincial or regional authorities, and then managing authorities. As I said before, in case you have doubts about the status, let's say, of city or non-city of a specific partner, please reach out to us. In many cases, we have already been in touch with you to check the status of a partner, so it's better to do it beforehand to make sure that your partnership is eligible. So this was a quick reminder of things that you have already seen before, actually, also in all the previous webinars. And now we go more into the details of this specific webinar. So let's have a look at the application form. So first of all, as a reminder, it is the responsibility of the lead partner to complete and submit the application form online. So it's a paperless application. You have to submit it through the online system Synergy CTE, and then you have to send all the required documents to the secretariat by email. And I will come back to the submission process at the end of the presentation. So when it comes to content, I hope that you had a look on Synergy by now, but if not, maybe this is the first time that you're going to encounter the application form. You know that it's composed of 9 chapters, let's say. So you have an overview, the first chapter, that is the project synthesis. Then you have the presentation more of the project proposal, the presentation of the proposed partnership, the activities and outputs, the work plan, and then a presentation of your proposal for project management, the use of expertise, and the budgetary proposal. I'm quickly going through all of these sections, maybe to give you also some tips of what you should think about covering in each one. So starting from the I'm not covering the very first part, that is the project synthesis, because this is going to come as a result of what you write also on all the subsequent chapters. So let's say starting from chapter 2, presentation of your proposed partnership. So remember that URBACT, let's say, that supports in general any thematic issues on better cooperation governance. So there's no let's say specific angle that URBACT asks you to tackle, but at the same time, the present call for proposal is open to the urban challenges and topics covered by the good practice cities that were selected. So in this case, it's kind of linked to the challenge of the good practice city that is going to lead the network. So in the presentation of your network theme, of your network proposal, you should define what is the main policy challenge that you are addressing. So what was basically the policy challenge of the good practice city and how you are addressing it then through the transfer network. And you should highlight what is the link between this policy challenge and the general EU cohesion policy objectives. We also really suggest that in your proposal, you describe how your policy challenge is relevant, and this on 2 levels, let's say, both for cities across Europe. So why your case is not unique, but could be interesting also for other cities outside of the transfer network to learn from you and from the results of this transfer network. And then again, the relevance on the EU landscapes. So basically how it adds value to maybe other EU policy initiatives, or what could be the intersections with other relevant activities under the urban dimension at EU level. So here it's really where we invite you to maybe also have some reflections regarding the connection between your policy challenge and the urban agenda for the EU, or your connection with other EU initiatives and partnerships. So it's really the link between your city, the challenge proposed by your city, and then the general landscape at EU level. And then very importantly as well, while you have your main topic, let's say, that you are addressing as a good practice city and after as a network, we also ask you to reflect on how your activities can address the 3 cross-cutting priorities of the URBACT 4 program that are green transition, gender equality, and digital transformation. So this is regardless, let's say, of what is your main topic. We really ask you to go the extra mile and consider how these holistic themes can be taken into consideration, both in your activities, but then also as part of the analyzed challenge and solution. And then if you want to have more details, let's say on the content of the project proposal, we invite you to check the guide for applicants, and we put here also the reference of the pages in case you didn't see them before. So this is, let's say, that it's the scene setting part of your application, is where you explain the context and why that is relevant for your city, and why also it could be relevant for other cities in Europe. And then you move on to the presentation of your proposed partnership. Here you should highlight what is the local situation of the partners in relation to the policy issue or to the topic that you're going to address as a network, and especially explain why this challenge is a priority for the network partners. So also what was their motivation in getting into a partnership with that good practice city. You could also give some information on if and how that specific policy issue was already addressed previously. If, for example, the city had already tried some initiative or a policy at local level, and if they had any results, or if, for example, that proposal failed, and so this is why they want to continue working on the topic. And also you could give an overview on what are the existing local strategies on that specific topic. So basically we go from a scene setting at EU level in the previous section to a scene setting at local level in this section, explaining what is the situation of each partner. Then again, in the presentation of the partnership, you should also highlight the motivation to transfer the good practice and what could be some of the results that you are expecting, and what is the added value of all these partners working together on the transfer of the good practice. So really corroborating why those 6 cities, 7 cities, 8 cities should work together, and why this is going to work as well. Once again, we put in the bottom the references of the guide for applicants, where you can find the longer version, let's say, of the explanation on the content. Then you have a section in which you can enlist your activities, your work plan. As a reminder, all the activities under URBACT are structured in 3 work packages. Work package 1 is related to network management, work package 2 to network level activities, so the transnational exchange, and work package 3 is related to local level activities. As a reminder, there are no outputs or deliverables foreseen under work package 1. All the deliverables are for work package 2 and 3. And you can find, again, in the guide for applicants, the long version of the explanation of what are the expected outputs. In your application form, then, you should also describe more the network management level of your partnership. So you should describe what is the experience of the lead partner city in leading, for example, EU projects, and what is the profile of the proposed project coordinator. And you should also give an overview of what is in general the lead partner's project team. This is where, as a lead partner, you really explain and make clear that the lead partner city has the capacity in terms of human resources and the skills to successfully deliver this project. We also ask you in the application form to explain what are your needs when it comes to skills and capacities for the URBACT lead expert and URBACT ad hoc expert. This is a point of difference from if any of you has participated in previous calls, either APN or ITN. In this call, as you know, we're not asking you to name already at the application stage an URBACT lead expert, but we're asking you to define what are your needs. So when it comes to this expertise support, so what kind of profile are you looking for? What kind of skills are you looking for? Because then we're gonna do more of a matchmaking process later on after the network has been approved. And if you want more information, once again, you can refer to the guide for applicants. So This was a very quick overview for the moment of, let's say, the content side of the application. I'm going to go in a moment on the budget part of the question of the application, but I'm going to stop for a moment if there are any questions that we should tackle that have not been answered yet.
No.
Okay, I see from my colleagues there are no pending questions, so I hope that everything was clear so far. So moving on to the budget. So you know that each network is going to be financed up to 750,000 euros total, so including also the local co-financing. And you know that depending on what type of region the partner is coming from, you have different co-financing rates. So what we have seen before, that the EU member states can come from 3 different types of regions. So if you come from a more developed region, you have up to 65% of co-financing rate. If you come from a transition region, it's 70%, and from a less developed region is 80%. If you have a partner that comes from Norway, they are going to have up to 50% of co-financing by Norwegian national funds, and very similarly for partners from Switzerland is going to be 50% co-financing from a Swiss national fund. From partners from IPA countries and NDCI countries, they have a 95% co-financing rate, respectively, from IPA funds and NDCI funds. Here I put a reminder that outside of this network budget, you will also receive additional resources from the program when it comes on expertise fees, but this is something that is directly managed and paid by the program. So it's not going to be funds that are going to be transferred to the cities, but we're going to support you through the support of the lead and ad hoc experts. But we have gone already more in detail on the expertise support in the previous webinars, so I really invite you to check the previous recordings in case you have missed that. So in Urbact, you have 5 main budget categories: staff cost, office and administration, travel and accommodation, external expertise and services, and equipment. And I'm going now to go through all of them to explain what they are about. So for staff cost, basically it's going to cover the salaries and the costs related to staff directly employed by the partner. And I think that this is the directly employed is really the most important part, because it's going to cover the cost of your internal staff. So staff that is directly employed by the organization that is partner within the partnership. No, I'm going to mention this in a second. When it comes then to office and administration, this is a flat rate. So it means that it's not something that you have to report on, but that is automatically calculated and then reimbursed as a percentage, 15% of the declared staff cost. And what you can cover with office and administration is usually the more operating expenses of the partner organization, like office rent, maintenance, stationery, postage, etc. A note on the staff costs. So maybe a recommendation on the human resources that you should foresee. So we usually recommend lead partners to have the equivalent of 2 full-time posts. Remembering that the lead partner should have a project coordinator. Usually we recommend to have somebody that as a lead partner could follow full-time the network, and then to have somebody taking care more of the financial aspect of the network, so as a finance officer, and somebody taking care of the communication aspects as a communication officer. For project partner, we usually recommend the equivalent of 1 full-time position. So to make sure that you have a project coordinator and a finance officer. Of course, also project partners might have tasks that are related to network communication, but this is more communication at local level. So it's something that could be covered also by the local project coordinator. And then remember that so lead partners and project partners must also foresee a local ULG coordinator. I didn't put this under, let's say, the obligatory staff costs, because depending on the local situation, sometimes local ULG coordinators also come from the stakeholder groups. So this is going to depend on the setup that you're going to have of your URBAC local group. It could be, so the coordinator could be somebody from the municipality, it could be somebody from the URBAC local group, so one of the stakeholders, or it could be an external consultant, and I'm going to come back on the external expertise in a second. But just as a tip and as a note, but once again, I'm going to come back to it, costs related to project management should not exceed 40% of the total budget at network level. So this is, let's say, a balancing check rule that we put in place to make sure that the network has enough funds to cover not only the staff costs, but then also all the local level activities and the transnational activities with the travels and so on. This 40% ceiling, let's say, includes the staff cost and some external expertise costs related to project management. I'm coming back to it in a second, so we can go more into detail about it. When it comes to travel and accommodation, so this budget line covers the travel cost of the staff that is directly employed by the partner organization. So once again, there is this division between, let's say, the internal human resources to the partner and the external human resources. So travel and accommodation covers the cost of the staff employed, so the internal resources. And for this, in this application, in this call for transfer network, you have two options. So this, again, it's a difference from the previous networks in case you have participated in previous calls. But for the transfer networks, you have the possibility to choose between two options. Either the travel and accommodation are going to be based on real costs. So you can estimate your budget. When you create your budget, you can estimate freely the amount of this travel and accommodation. But then it means that when it comes to the reporting process, you will have to have all the receipts and all the pieces to justify this type of expenses. Or like the office and administration, it can be a flat rate, 50% flat rate on the declared staff costs. So this means that it's not, as a flat rate is not going to be, you don't have to provide proof of expenses, but you have this ceiling of 50%. So it really depends on the staff costs of how much the staff costs you're going to declare and how much travel you're going to cover. Because as a reminder, this budget line covers the internal, let's say, human resources travel costs. When it comes then to external expertise and services, so here in this budget category, you will basically add all the expenditures that are related to service provided by an external body, either public or private or a natural person, so somebody who is external to the partner organization. And you have also categories. You have expertise related to project coordination. You have expertise and services related to meeting organization, expertise related to communication. Here you have also the travel cost of experts and other non-staff travel. So what before we were calling the externals from the organization. And you also have the budget line in case your partner has to have has costs related to first level control. There's also the dedicated budget line. So as I said before, we have this ceiling of 40%, 40% of the total budget at network level that can be dedicated to project management cost. This 40% is composed by the staff cost plus the costs under project coordination that are related to external service providers that, for example, cover project coordination, financial expertise, or accountancy services. So it's really those people that would provide the project management services in case the municipality doesn't have internal capacities to do so. I think this is a very important distinction for you to understand and to make, because, for example, under external expertise, you could also have the fees of an external ULG coordinator or the fees related to a speaker that you would like to invite once to hold the conference, etc. These will not be considered project management costs, of course, because they are more related to the actual implementation of the local level activities. So I hope this is clear how this 40% is calculated, and then you can also justify in your application, for example, under project coordination, we foresee, for example, one external project manager, but then we also have this other service provider that we are foreseeing. And then last but not least, we also have a budget line for equipment that covers equipment that is purchased, rented, or leased in a few specific cases that are related to the implementation of the project. But really, a word of caution, knowing that URBACT is more a program that is focused on the soft measures and more on the exchange and learning between cities. So there's no really scope and room for big investments. So make sure that this is clear also to your project partners of what is actually possible and eligible to buy or to rent through URBACT. And then when your project is going to be approved, you can also have a check with us, with the project officers to make sure that in case the purchases that you want to make are indeed eligible for the program. And then maybe a few reminders on cost management. So, I hope that the approved networks will start from the 1st of November of this year. So this means that costs are eligible starting from the 1st of November. If you have understood how URBACT works, there's no advance that URBACT sends to the city, but it's on a reimbursement basis on the real cost that the cities have incurred. So make sure that you and your partner cities plan for sufficient treasury especially for the first part of the network activities, because for the reporting periods, let's say the first payment is not going to come before the summer of 2026. So I think this is also important for your partners to be aware, first of all, of how URBACT works, so that there's no advance, and then that they should foresee at least for the first year sufficient resources. Then it goes without saying, but the cost must be borne by the partner organization for them to be reimbursed and refunded by the program. The preparation costs of the application are not eligible for reimbursement. And then we have a rule, let's say, we do have some flexibility when it comes to the budget that you propose, where you could reallocate some funds between budget categories or between partners if this is not over 20%. It's not an increase over 20% of that budget category or of that partner's budget. But if you think that you might have reallocation over this 20%, they are going to be possible through what we call a reprogramming process that is going to be available a midterm through your network journey. So basically what we are going to give you is the possibility to start your network journey with the budget that you are foreseeing now through your application, so through your proposal. But then we also know that things evolve while you are undergoing especially in the first months when you undergo your transferability study process, so where you go through the partner cities and you really define how the transfer is going to look like and what kind of activities you want to carry out more in detail. And for this reason, we give you the possibility through the midpoint, so usually 1.5 years after the start of your network, to decide if there's a need to reprogram the budget. But in any case, we will give more information on this for the approved networks, so don't worry too much about it. But now at the application stage, it might be useful for you to know that in case there is room for reallocations. Of course, then when it comes to cost management, you should follow principles of sound financial management and cost efficiency. And for example, especially when it comes to travels, we also accept and give priority to options that demonstrate a lower environmental cost. So in that case, even if, for example, a train ticket is slightly more expensive than an airplane ticket, it has lower environmental costs, so we would really encourage you to travel by train in this case. And then remember that all contracts shall comply with the basic principles of procurement rules that you have at local and national level. So this is something really related to procurement, that you have to abide to your local and national rules and EU rules as well. But that is going to be checked at local level, and the compliance also with your first level controllers. Okay, I'm gonna stop here and see if there are any questions to answer, and maybe I'm gonna mute myself so my colleagues can tell me which questions are to be answered.
Yes, Maria Lara. So I think there were some questions about the 40% and that we left unanswered, but because you were explaining all this at the same time. So I think that you covered them, but if not, I invite the persons who asked about it to tell us in the Q&A if there is something that is still unclear. And there's also the question about, I'm not muted. Yeah, okay. So a question about the two full-time positions that cannot be covered by the staff budget as it is for some countries. So indeed, this is something some countries should foresee, that the workload will represent the two full-time positions, but will not be covered, at least not all the hours dedicated to the project. But keep in mind that these worked hours are for the benefit of the city, and that the city will get more than just funding from the participation in this network. I mean, this is how this the program works, and this is the added value that indeed is to be taken into consideration.
So any other questions maybe to be covered, or everything else is covered by the chat? Okay. So in the meantime, I mean, feel free also to ask any other additional clarification questions, because then we have another moment later on to stop. So if anything wasn't already covered either by the presentation or by the answers in the chat, feel free to still continue asking. I would like now to move to Synergy for a moment to show you some of the features of the platform. So I'm going to stop my screen sharing and move to Synergy. So, all right. So give me just 1 second and I find you again. All right. So screen share. Okay. All right. So you should be seeing now my Synergy. Yes. So as a reminder, I hope that by now you have started getting to know the Synergy platform. But so the platform to use for the application is called Synergy CTE 2127. So make sure that you're connecting to the right Synergy platform in case you had already participated in URBAC 3. This is the new platform for URBAC 4. Normally the platform looks like this, so it's a white background platform. But for this webinar, I'm going to use, let's say, another version of Synergy that is called, it's like a playground, let's say, version of Synergy. So you're going to see it in this orange background, but just because I'm in this way, all the changes that I do, I'm not going to actually be registered. It's only like a test platform. But all in all, it has the same functions as your own Synergy. So it's going to be the same, and it's going to be mirrored. A few things that I wanted to point out when it comes to using Synergy. First of all is the how to get into Synergy. So the account creation. You have 3 scenarios. Either you have never used Synergy before now, so you have to create a new account and you go here. Or you already have an account as a lead partner from either an action planning network or an innovation transfer network. And in that case, you just log in with the account that you have. Or you have currently an account as a project partner, but not as a lead partner. And I'm going to show you how to do it now. So once again, as a reminder, only the accounts that have a lead partner framing, a lead partner authorization, can present a project proposal under this call. So if you have already an account as a lead partner, you simply click on login. If you don't have an account or you have an account as a project partner, you click on create an account and then URBACT 4, create a user account for the program URBACT 4. And here you have two options. Either you don't have a user account at all, so you click this one and then click on proceed, or you already have a user account on a project as a partner, but not as a lead partner. And so you go ahead and you connect in this way, and then you can present your proposal. I don't know if Gelsomina is online. I hope you are. If not, Gelsomina, I'm sorry, I'm using you as an example. Because, for example, this is a case of a city that is a current project partner, but is not yet, does not yet have a lead partner account. So in this case, I'm always in the playtesting area. So this is not going to have any impact on the actual and real synergy. But I'm going to log in as Gelsomina that has a project partner account. And then here you will see that I can submit a project proposal under this TN call. So this was an example, but then, so let me do another example. So I have this test account for myself, so for Maria Laura, and I have logged in. The only thing that I can do now is proceed to submit a project idea for program URBACT 4. Is the only code that we have opened, so I'm gonna go ahead. And here I had already set out my account to be connected to Paris as an organization, but then I have to select, and here I'm working as a lead partner, I have to select the specific partner. Synergy makes a difference between organizations and partners. Because let's say that within the same organization, so within the municipality of Paris, there could be many different partners that participate in different calls. So you could still be municipality of Paris, but then you are the Department of Social Services. And so this is why sometimes you feel it as a duplicate, that you have to do both organization and partner profile. But this is the way Synergy works, basically, to explain you the rationale behind it. So I'm Maria Laura. I'm presenting as a lead partner a project proposal. I am representing the municipality of Paris, so I'm selecting this as a partner. And then here I have to write my project acronym. That is going to be TEST in this case, TEST TNN. A reminder, so this is going to be also covered in the next section, but Synergy asks you to write a project acronym and a project title. What is going to be binding, let's say, from a contracting and administrative point of view, is the project title, which we really ask you to think about a name that is going then to be the name of your network. So a name that is self-explanatory, that people can easily understand what you are working on, and can also be something that it's catchy in the sense that it's easy to remember for your stakeholders and for your general audience. So I put the acronym of my project. I have selected the priority axis. So basically you have to click on all of these arrows, and then I click on proceed. Now I have opened my project, and what we really suggest is that you go on enter main elements as a first step in writing your project proposal. So you go to main elements, and this is really where you put the basics of your project. So as we said, the acronym that we set before, then we have the starting date, that is the 1st of November 2025, and the end date, that is the 30th of April 2024. And once again, make sure that these are the correct dates, because then they will also affect the dates of the work activities and work plan. Here is where you put your project title. So let's say that I am diversity, and a short description of your project proposal. And again, this short description is mainly, let's say, what we will also use when it comes to communication material around this, around your network. So it's really important that this short description gives a clear overview on what you're going to work on, what is your policy challenge, what are your objectives, and what you would like to work on, basically. So this is a TN proposal. Two main things on synergy that I would like you to take away from this webinar, and I hope that it will be in your memory forever. So on synergy, everything that is a yellow box is a compulsory box to fill out. And this is going to be relevant, especially for the next categories. And then don't forget to hit save. Like every time you do something on synergy, before moving on to the next tab or to the next section, you have to hit save, because otherwise it's not going to be saved on the platform and you have to do the work twice. In this case, I finished putting everything that I needed to put in this tab. So I'm going to tick the box to signal that I finished inputting information, and I'm going to hit save. Then again, I'm going to enter main elements, and I'm going into the partner section. Here, first of all, what is important is to go back to my lead partner Municipality of Paris profile and to fill out my information. So all this administrative information you have filled out at the beginning when you have created the profile of the lead partner or the profile of the project partner. What is important that you do next is the finance part, and then at least for the lead partners, the contact. So you have to add a contact or what could be the team, let's say, of the project partner under contact. But most importantly, under finance, you have to do this step before, so putting the budget of the partner in this section first, to then be able to fill out the budget section later on in the application. So I went into my profile as Municipality of Paris. I went into the tab Finance. Then I go and click on Total Eligible Budget. And here I decide how much funds Paris is going to receive. So let's say that it's 100,000. I hope that I put it correctly. Yeah. All right. So Paris has 100,000 total available as budget. Here, first of all, you can select what kind of fund is going to finance that specific partner. So Paris is part of the EU member state, so it's covered by an ERDF fund. And now I'm going to click here on this plus to establish how much of the ERDF fund Paris is going to receive. What you have to do here is simply write the co-financing rate. So for Paris is 65%. And once again, and you see that here it was automatically calculated how much, what amount Paris is going to receive from ERDF funds. Once again, I'm going to hit save. And then I have to write the co-financing amount. So here in this, you have to check this box to confirm that the co-financing is coming from the partner internal resources. So it's going to be Paris that is going to cover the co-financing and not any other type of funds. And then you write the amount basically missing from the co-financing. And once again, you hit save. And just as an explanation, as an example, I'm going to go back and pretend and add a new partner. So I go back to main elements, then I go to partners, and then I add another partner, just to show you also how that looks like. So let's say that, for example, I have a partner from Albania. So we also see how it works for an IPA fund. In this window, I look for the country, and then I could also look for the name of the city if I already have it. Let's say that, for example, the Municipality of Permet is going to participate with me in this project. So I'm going to select them and add them to the project. And then once again, I check that all this information is correct, but it's already taken from the profile of the partner, so it should be the case. And then I'm going to go to, oh, sorry, I had to click save, which I have given you as a recommendation all this time. And then going into the finance part of the partner profile, I select the IPA fund in this case because Permet is in Albania, and I confirm that I'm attaching this financing plan. And then I do the same. So total budget, and let's say that also to Permet we give 100,000 euros. And then again, I go to IPA fund this time, and I select the co-financing rate to 95% because it's an IPA country. And then as public co-financing, once again, it's going to be Permet who is going to cover the costs, and I'm going to put the co-financing amount that we need, so 5,000. And then again, you repeat all this process for all the partners, because then all this information will be taken into account in the budget section of the application. Maybe just to quickly go through the other elements under main elements. So we have done the description. We have done, imagine that you've done all your partners. The next thing that you have to do here is work plan. As I said before, we don't have any deliverables expected under network management. So here in the work package network management, you just make sure that you have all the partners allocated to the work package. So Paris, it's automatically there because it's the lead partner, but then you have to add all the project partners, and then you hit save. Oh, sorry, I also have to check the starting date of the project. So it's November 2025, and then the ending date of this work package is of course going to be the end date of the network overall, so the 30th of April. All right, and let's hit save. Going back to the work plan activities, then you do the same for work package 2 and then work package 3 as well. So you put the starting date as the 1st of November. You put the end date as the 30th. Oh, no, sorry, 30th of April. And you hit save. And then you add all the partners into this work plan, and then you hit save. And then here is where you work also on the deliverables. So you add as a deliverables, and you take them from the list. And it's actually already quite straightforward which kind of deliverables should go under which work package. So TN, so the deliverables related to this transfer network call. Work package 2, so we are under work package 2, the transferability study. So let's call it transferability study. This is going to be let's say the first deliverable that you have. You're not obliged to write a description or an indicative budget. I would maybe suggest for the transferability study, it's quite straightforward what it is about. But maybe it's more relevant for example, the transnational meetings, to kind of explain how many shortly explain how many you are foreseeing. So let's say that I have one deliverable, then of course you have to add all the other deliverables under work package 2. And this deliverable will have to be produced by end of 2026. So I only have one deliverable as a transferability study, and I hit save. And then you repeat the same basically for all the other compulsory deliverables. And you do the same as well, again, work plan activities, you do the same also for work package 3. Once you've done all of this, basically you will see this table filled out with all the deliverables and the numbers enlisted here. So 1 transferability study, then you're going to have 6 transnational meetings, etc. And here in these 2 columns, you have the list of the partners. So make sure that all the partners of the network are attached to the work packages. And this closes the main elements section of the application. Then you have, let's say, all the content that you're going to fill out. So section 2, section 3, section 4 is more content related, although information from section 4 and section 5 are also going to be automatically taken from the main elements section. So for example, if now I go here, I see the same table of the work plan that we have already started filling in. And then when it comes to budget, you have all of these different sections with budgetary proposals. Here you see already the info that we have added at partner level. So this section is not something that you can edit directly, but that takes the information from the partner profile. Here you will have to write down, to make a calculation on how much ERDF, IPA, and NDCI funds you are foreseeing for each of the financing years. And here's more where you go into the detail of the expenditures by partner, by year, and by subcategory. So here is where you make the decision of how you're going to proceed, if with simplified cost options for the travel and accommodation or based on real costs. So you have two options here. 15% administration flat rate, that this is common for all, it's compulsory. And then either real cost for travel and accommodation or 15% for travel and accommodation. Let's say that Paris decides to have a flat rate. So I select that, I click on OK. And now I have the possibility to modify the budget by budget category. One thing that I think it's important for you to know is in your budget proposal, it will be important if you don't choose the simplified cost option, travel and accommodation, it will be important to explain why you're not choosing that in the application form. It can be as simple as we made a calculation and we think it's not enough to cover the travel for the internal stuff, but it's important that you write one line to justify why that happens. And then you simply go budget line by budget line to fill it out. So staff cost, let's say that Paris has 20,000. Sorry. Maybe I have to put it here. 20,000. Ah, no, because I didn't hit save. So that was my problem. So I have to do that and then do that. And now I can proceed. And then let's say that Paris has 5,000 in 2025, 5,000 in 2026, and 10,000 in 2027. And I click on OK. And then I have the total here. And this is repeated then for all the budget categories and all the partners. I'm gonna stop here for the moment with Synergy and just maybe go through a quick run through of the last slides that I had. All right, so you should be able to see my screen now. As a reminder, we have, for Synergy, we have this step-by-step guide. Sorry, you're seeing the wrong. We have the step-by-step guide that explains to you exactly how to proceed with all these steps, and it's also what we use as well to follow you through the application. So it's really, I would say, the most important guidance for you at the moment. But as a general reminder, before we close and before maybe we go to the last questions, submission procedure. So it's the responsibility of the lead partner to submit the project proposal as a whole. And there are two steps. You have an online submission of the application form through the Synergy platform that closes automatically on the 30th of June at 3 p.m. Paris time. So make sure that you plan it well in advance and you're not last minute at 2:58 trying to submit the application on Synergy. And once again, you have the practical guide to help you go through the application. Once you've submitted the application on Synergy, then you have to send the application package via email at tn@urbac.eu. And to do this, you have time until the next day, so until the 1st of July 2025 at 3 p.m. Paris time. And the application package is composed of the signed PDF of the application form generated through Synergy. So this means that once you've done all of your application on Synergy, you save, you download, you send it, you submit it, you download the PDF and you sign it. It can either be a digital signature or a manual one, and then you scan the manual signature. And then in the application package, you put the signed PDF of the application form, the signed letters of commitment in English of all the partners, so lead partner and project partners, and these ones have to be signed by an elected representative. So we need to make sure that there is a political involvement when it comes to the involvement in this project, and the curriculum of the lead partner project coordinator in English. If you remember, you had to write the profile of the project coordinator already during the application. So you have to send all of this by the 1st of July at 3 p.m. And once you do these 2 steps, your application is going to be considered complete, and you're going to receive also communication from us confirming that we have well received your application package. One last word of recommendation from my side: don't wait the last minute. Especially you've seen how time-consuming Synergy can be, and unfortunately, this is the platform that we work with. So really make sure that you have your time to fill everything out, and that content side, if you want, you can also start working on a Word file and then copy paste here. You have on our website, so at the Get Involved page, also the Word and the Excel templates for the budget and the, let's say, the text. So you can also start working offline before moving on to Synergy. But I really urge you to, again, not wait until the 30th of June to do all of this. And last but not least, we have another troubleshooting webinar next week, next Tuesday on the 24th, always same time at 10 a.m. So in case you have any last minute questions or issues with Synergy, we're still there to help you. So I know that we are 1 minute over time, but I'm gonna stop to see if there are questions, because I guess there might be, especially on Synergy. So thank you for bearing with me. I give the floor to Evgenia.
Okay, yes. So during the Synergy navigation, there have been some questions related to this. So about the project partners' accounts, will they be necessary at which stage will they be necessary? During the submission or later? This is one.
You need to have them now, because you have to have all the project partners enlisted now in your application in Synergy. So you have to add and create, let's say, the profile of the project partners already now. You can then create at a later stage, in case your project is approved, the specific access for a specific person. So let's say Maria Laura is going to have later on the access to the Synergy platform as a project partner if the project is approved. But my organization, Paris, has to be already enlisted on Synergy. And if the partner is not in the list or database in Synergy, you have to add them. So once again, you find in the Synergy guidance that we have prepared a step-by-step process on how to do that. I haven't shown it now because I had to choose which one to show you, but you have the possibility to add partners on Synergy. Any other questions?
You have already covered, another one. So I see also that someone has created the wrong organization under the lead partner. How can I erase them?
What do you mean? Sorry, I'm looking for the question.
Yeah, maybe if you can explain a bit more your question.
Just because, so for the question on the lead partner profile, I didn't really understand what you mean. So if you have a partner basically that is already lead partner in another network, they can be a project partner in your network with the same profile. So it's not really, that is not a problem. It's just that for you to create the application form, you have to be a lead partner. Of course, another maybe important notice is that Synergy doesn't allow for simultaneous accounts to work on the same project application. So if Maria Laura has opened this application form, only Maria Laura's account can work on it. So it's not something that you can, let's say, share with colleagues, and one profile starts and then another profile continues. So this is a general word of caution for Synergy. But then if in your network you have a project partner that is a lead partner in another network, that is not an issue. You use the same, you add them with the same profile they already have on Synergy. I hope this was the question and this was clear, but let us know in the chat in case it's not. Are there any other questions that we have left unanswered at this stage?
If the project partner already exists, but with a different answer for VAT recoverable, is it possible to just change this and not recreate the profile entirely?
Because in the meantime, they have changed their VAT profile. I mean, that should be the same across, let's say, projects. But in case, let us know which partner it is, so we can check if from the back end of the website we can do it. I don't think it's something that you can do as an account user, as a lead partner, but maybe it's something that we can do as a secretariat to change on our side. Or worst case scenario, you have to create a new account for that partner, but reach out to us via email so we can see the specific case in the backend. Any other questions? All right, so I think from what I understand that we have answered everything either via chat or now during the webinar. But in there are still leftover questions, feel free to reach out to our email address. You know that it's TN. Where can I find it again? I put it many times in this presentation. tn@urbac.eu. Voila. So that if you have any doubts on the application or on Synergy, you can reach out to us. Really, the last word that I can say is have a look at the Synergy guidance and have it next to you step by step, because that can clarify some of the maybe points that you don't know where to click when you are on Synergy. I hope this was useful for you. In any case, we're gonna put the recording and the slides on the website. And in case you have any other issues, we can meet again next week at the next webinar. Thank you so much for staying here even over time, and see you next week for those of you who will connect. Have a good day. Bye, everyone.